there's anticipation to see who comes through the door first. And as he comes through, the whole place goes, and that happens. When I asked him how he did that, he gave me the nugget I use in speeches and I talk all the time. He says, Dad, if you can't get out of it, get into it. And I'm like, dude. And I think George Kittle, I think obviously Morgan, and those winners in life know how to access this is all a game if I say so. And the power of flipping that script again, instead of going, this is going to suck, to let's get into it. Hey, welcome back, you guys. Another week. Glad to have you with me. Thank you for joining and listening and watching. It's your boy Mark with Caelan.
Hello.
Hi, Kay. And maybe another week of Caelan. You know that show, Yanla Fix My Life? Maybe it's Caelan Fix My Life. Like I say things that make me embarrassed, and you put them in perspective, and I leave here going, okay. So thank you for that, Caelan.
You're welcome.
So here's, I started talking about last week, George Kittle. Show's Receivers. I think it's produced by Peyton Manning.
I heard that, I haven't seen it, but I heard that one of the producers is Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And there was a conspiracy going on because Devontae Adams is in the show.
Yes.
And they made sure not to show the Christmas game where the Raiders beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and there's a conspiracy that it's because Patrick Mahomes is a producer and wouldn't allow them to
I saw that. And it's probably true. I think Devontae Adams is great. Is it?
I mean,
if you haven't seen it, it's on
Super
Netflix.
Bowls in a row. Who cares?
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, it's on Netflix. Great reality series. And I don't think you necessarily need to be a football fan to enjoy it, because I like football, but I don't grind it out. I don't fantasy football it. I really don't. You're in
So much fun, yeah.
You're in it?
I won my championship.
I'm afraid to do it. You want it?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
It was New Year's Eve. First, I won my fantasy football championship, and then I proposed to my longtime girlfriend.
Which was the bigger day?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad. Thanks.
That was a good day. That was a good day.
Yeah, the reason I don't fantasy football is because I like watching football, but I don't root for one team, and it feels overwhelming to kind of get, like to be able to handicap who I want to put on my team. But I think once you jump in, the learning curve goes pretty quick.
Well, I'm the other way because I grew up in LA and we never had a football team. The Rams were in St. Louis.
Right.
And so I grew up, we never had a team. I never had anyone to root for, so I kind of never watched it. Then I started getting into football, still never had a team. Then the Rams moved to LA, and it was like, okay, I guess they're my team now. And They are my team now, but, I'm not a Rams fan the same way, a Buffalo Bills fan is a Buffalo Bills fan. And so fantasy football helps me root in a way that I can't normally because I don't feel like a real Rams fan because I wasn't growing up.
Let's just stop the phrase that fantasy football helps me and see what's going on with that. Yeah, I have a similar story in that I grew up in South Carolina before the Panthers. And that's really feels more like North Carolina. So there was no team for us to root for either. So I grew up a Dolphins fan because my grandparents lived in Miami and I saw a Dolphins game. And I think I was more into football then when I was like little, when I was 10, 11, 12 and I was playing football, I was into it. And then I moved out here and a little bit same. I kind of was not so into it. But, my daughter-in-law, she's going to be pissed at me, is the most responsible person with money I know in my life.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure she's super mad.
But she digs what?
I'm sure she's furious at you right now.
But
for the horrible compliment you just gave her.
But she digs the gambling a little, like I do. But I've never seen anybody more healthy with it. Like she'll play slot machine and she'll have some fun, and then that's it. But she said that it's been more fun watching basketball and stuff like that since she's discovered FanDuel.
Oh, yeah.
Right? To have some, and I can totally get having something on the game makes it fun. And of course she, $5, $10, $20 or whatever, but it helps her sit with my son and watch sports together. So it kind of is a reason to buy in. But Anyway, I've been watching receivers, and I've been watching. Robbie's been watching a little bit too. So I think what I think they do a great job on these shows. Training Camp, which I think is an HBO show, or a Max show now, but
Hard Knocks is what I'm thinking of.
Hard Knocks. I've watched for years, and I think where it gets interesting beyond the sport is the story, the family, who these people are. Because we see them as gladiators on the weekend, and it's really interesting to see how each of these characters processes this incredibly intense life they're living. And the one that has blown me away, I really like Devontae Adams. I like, all of them have been a storyline I've really enjoyed, but George Kittle, tight end for San Francisco 49ers. This guy, every time I see him on the screen, I have a new takeaway that affirms things I knew were true and hoped were true, and things I haven't thought about that I want to be more like him.
Great.
There you go.
Thank you, George Kittle.
Yeah, because here's his thing. Here's what I've noticed in him. Besides the fact that he does all the inside work that you're supposed to do to be a healthy, authentic human. He does the affirmations. He does the meditation. He walks the walk, from what I can tell on this show, of that spiritual journey. Not heady spiritual, but the self-care walk. He does the speaking to yourself right and arresting bad conversation, all that stuff, as a firm believer in that. I love that. But the biggest takeaway of what I get from him is he's having fun. He says it all the time. Football's so fun. Isn't this fun? And I watch him not just say it, but be it. Like, I am constantly reminded that the career I'm in, what I'm doing right now is so fucking fun. I love it. And then everyone around him has to be lifted up because of it, because that's infectious, right? Mm-hmm. And I can't get enough of that. It's like, here he is, insanely successful in a very competitive business where injury is around every corner, but his entire focus is gratitude, fun, and let's go. And even before the game, and I looked it up, I couldn't find it. I was looking on it, quotes. I've got some of his quotes here, but he was doing an affirmation before the game on one episode where he was breathing in. He was exhaling like doubt and breathing in whatever. I don't remember what the in was, but the fact that he had an exhale, inhale affirmation says a lot. And then I watch him in games where, like on his birthday, he got 3 touchdowns, like this incredible day. And I also love the fact that he celebrates who he is without somehow not being cocky, but like his whole family come in a party bus with his face on the side of it, like 15 people coming to be part of the fun.
Yeah.
And when he's done with the game, he gets to the party bus. It was his birthday, but you know what I mean?
Sure.
Somehow he has been able to take what can be brooding of I didn't get my looks, or, I got this injury, or, this coach is sweating me. There's so many factors, and he's just not playing that game at all. And quite frankly, that's funny I said that. What he's doing is playing the game of football, not the business of football. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really powerful. Who he is really, really powerful, and everyone around him is a benefiter of it. And the other takeaway that I really admired was that in the wins and the pluses, he's celebratory, having a great time, all of that. In the losses, and some of them are, you remember last season, like they lost on a kick, on a field goal that was really heartbreaking. They were 5-0, and then they went 5-1, and 5-2, and 5-3. And when the loss hits, it's not that he doesn't want to win. It's not that he's not just torn up that they lost, but the speed at which he processes it, lets it go without diminishing it. Like, it's not like he's not going to try harder, but he immediately goes to the action of it. It's like, okay. And then immediately goes to the quarterback and goes, we're going to get him next week. And it's not even that fake rah-rah shit like Rudy shit. It's like legit, I love you, brother. Okay, let's take that one on the chin and see what we can be better next week. It's so powerful. And I think so many of these professional athletes who are successful tap into some version of that, but his version seems so wholesome, you know, and it shows up all over his friends, the way his friends are with him, the way his wife is with him. You know, little man crush.
Yeah.
I just think it's really interesting to see someone who could easily approach the business different. Like he talked about, you need to access violence. You know, you need to get violent. It's a violent sport. You need to access that. But his energy in the game is like, is over the top. He's like, first of all, I think a tight end in the National Football League is one of the toughest positions. I mean,
oh yeah, you're getting hit hard.
Look at
especially going
Kelsey,
over the middle.
Gronk. These guys are the beasts. In my opinion, those guys are the ultimate beasts, I think. Those and linebackers, I think. I just think there's a lot to be taken away from that. So I was watching it going, all right, so power of fun. Power of fucking shifting the script to whatever it is that you're doing is fun. Like, let's turn this into fun. And there's a couple things about that. So I'm also now really into, when I say into, I'm a little impulsive. It's like 2 days. I love this band, Lawrence the Band. You know Lawrence the Band?
I don't.
Okay. Kind of soul, kind of R&B feel, way high energy. This, I think it's a brother-sister, core.
Yeah.
And I love him. Raspy, great voice on keyboards. And she's this quirky, kind of hipstery, kind of adorable singer with a range like I've never heard in my life. Like she's got a instrument that's like amazing, but they're having a blast. And when I listen to their music, I'm having a blast. Mm-hmm. And so they did like this song, and they did a video that's on YouTube of them doing their song, actually playing from their bunks in their bus. I just want to go on tour with them. I feel like they're having a blast. They're winning the game. They're playing these stadiums. They're doing whatever, and they love one another, and they're having a good time. So I've been kind of just tripping on the power behind choosing to have more fun, which goes back to what you were saying last episode is, okay, so I could sit here and go, it sucks that I have to always clarify my name, or I can laugh every time. Thank you for the laugh. Ha, 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 ha. Fun, 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 fun. And I know from my past that when I'm having fun, or as I've said in talks before, when I'm accessing joy, I become selfless, and whatever joy I'm having is shared to others. And in that connection, when I'm joyful, you can't help but be joyful. And in that connection comes power, team, and possibility. So I know this on a motivational speaking level. But what I'm obsessing on is watching people who actualize that joy and the power of it. I'm going to give you an example of my own son. I quote him all the time on this. And by the way, my son, check out his vlog and what he's got going on. I can now say officially, although I think I'm now mentioning my daughter-in-law, and she's going to be pissed, and now I'm bringing up him without a permission. He's going to be pissed, but fuck him. So Still Here Lifestyle on Instagram and all the things. He's got quite a story. But I love, one of the things I love about being a parent is that you teach and you think you're imparting wisdom when they're younger because they listen to you because you're like a god, and then later on they start forming their own opinions. But some of the things you taught them that you didn't even believe, but you kind of taught them, they actualize, and then you become the student. Like, oh shit, now I see it, I get it. Well, he did something in college that I think about when I relate to fun is not something that happens to you. Fun is something you get to choose in every moment. So he went to a really rough military college. Not because he wasn't coddled and loved by two Jewish helicopter parents, and he was escaping, out of some trauma. He chose because he wanted to be a Navy pilot. So he went to VMI, which is like medieval. And on one day, like a snowy, rainy, shitty day, they have a 20-mile hike with rucksacks, the whole 9 yards. Like, it sucks. This is a sucks day.
Yeah.
And then when they form up on the bricks to the companies are going to do this 20-mile march, they randomly select one cadet to be the road guard. So they put on a vest, and as you're walking or marching down the road and you're coming up to a crosswalk where there's danger, a cross street where there's danger, the road guard comes out of the column, runs up to the front, stops traffic, then has to run and catch back up. So it's almost like marching twice, right?
Yeah.
And normally what happens, I guess, is that I can hear my son hearing this going, that's not at all how this goes down. But let's just pretend this is how it goes down. So normally you do it for like a mile or two, and then they switch to another road guard, right? And another road guard. So for me, in 32 degrees, snowy, rainy, grossness, boots, 50 pounds on my back, 20-mile march, I'm not down. This is going to be the worst day of my life. Could be my day going into it. Mm-hmm. Now, you can hear already the weight that comes. I mean, it just becomes heavier. So Morgan was like, I'll tell you what. I'm going to make it a thing for me that when all the road guards get called out, I'm going to get there first and get back first. Like, they don't know it, but I'm making it a race. So when it's time to change road guards, he's like, nah, dog, I'll do it. So he stays the road guard, whatever that is, for the whole 20 miles. And it starts to catch on.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
That he's made a game, and other road guards are now competing. and now the whole, like, all the guys like me who are like, fuck this thing, are now watching the game, so they're having fun. And the whole march is getting better for everyone. Right? To the point where all the companies come back in and form up inside the courtyard of the barracks after the march is over, and the only thing left are the road guards who just stopped the last road who are going to jog back in, and there's anticipation to see who comes through the door first. And as he comes through, the whole place goes, and that happens. When I asked him how he did that, he gave me the nugget I use in speeches, and I talk all the time. He says, Dad, if you can't get out of it, get into it. And I'm like, dude. And I think George Kittle, I think obviously Morgan, and those winners in life know how to access, this is all a game if I say so. And the power of flipping that script again, instead of going, this is going to suck, to let's get into it.
Yeah.
And, some people do it naturally. Morgan, my son, does this naturally. I've never seen anybody do it like this. But he's a little extreme. If it's working out, he's like, let's get into it. I'm going to go harder. Right? But it speaks to when you access fun. If you choose that this is going to be fun or this is fun, this is a lightness that happens. It's like you take off the backpack. Now I'm thinking about something that maybe I gave to Morgan when he was really young that might have been a reason that it processed that way. Is that I remember he was having a real hard time getting up to go to school, and he was really dreading it, not having fun at all. And I said, I get it. It's like Sunday scaries every day. Yeah. I said, I kind of get it, dude. I said, I tell you what, he couldn't have been more than like 9 or 10. I said, you know what it feels like is that you wake up and the day is taken away from you. You have to go to school. It's gonna be a drag. I said, what if we decide to get up an hour earlier? I'll do it with you. And we take a walk. And we take the day first before it's taken from us. And I think, again, these are things I say just scrambling, trying to be a good dad that I don't even know works. But sometimes people like Morgan take things like that, nuggets like that, and expound on it, and it becomes actually powerful. And I think that's the takeaway for me with the George Kittle thing and receivers and what Morgan does and everything is that how many times do you, I don't know if you do this at all, Caelan, but how many times do you look at what's coming down your agenda and go, fuck. Right? And then how does that make you feel? Like a lot, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's moments. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, there's moments for me all the time. I mean, down to there's garbage that needs to go out. I'm like, fuck. But if you really play this out, you can make taking out the garbage could be a game. How many bags can I carry? Whatever. But there's a lightness that happens when you shift the script to making it, choosing that it's going to be fun, right? You can't get out of it, get into it. And there's a heaviness when you go, this is going to suck.
Yeah.
And that's in everything in my life. It's like everything in my life. And really difficult labor becomes not difficult. For instance, I've been doing a lot of work at home. Okay. I had all sorts of stuff going on in my backyard that had to be, upgraded. And instead of hiring people, I decided to do a lot of the work myself. And it was hot, and it was difficult, and was heavy, and time consuming, and it hurt. But
a hell of a time to start that project, 100-degree beginning of summer.
It's when I got back and I was home, and shit, it was like, so here's the thing. So I put off doing stuff like fixing my fence and getting rid of the chicken coop and updating the garden, because the garden's now a source of just dirt, all this stuff, and that everything was just in disrepair because it was not a fun thing for me to go and fix it. There was nothing other than a chore. And so instead of doing it, I just didn't do it. And then what happened was I didn't do it, and now I have this beautiful backyard that's no longer beautiful, and I'm not even going in it, and I didn't even plant a garden. So now, self-perpetuating, the weight of it gets heavier and heavier and heavier. What shifted for me is I came back after being in Hawaii, feeling pretty good about myself, still on a little pink cloud of other people telling me I'm great, so that was awesome. And I realized that when we're in Hawaii and we're hanging out at the pool and we're eating food by the pool and hanging out, it's really fun. And fuck, I have this in my backyard that I don't even use because it's in disrepair. The pool itself, everything. And so then what became fun for me was the thought of how affordable and how quick can I flip this like a TV show backyard makeover so that it's usable. And then it became a game for me. I'm going to spend under $2,000 and it's going to be up and running by 4th of July. Then it became I couldn't wait to wake up to go do backbreaking work in the sun. Now, I hired some people, but first thing I had to do was learn how to tile and retile my barbecue. But not easy and long day. Got it done. But the point is, it became a game for me. The work, the blisters, the splinters, the injuries, the backbreaking, lifting, and the mistakes. This is interesting too. The mistakes I made, which often in other projects would make me go, fuck it, man, I'm not doing this. This is stupid. I don't know what I'm doing. None of that. It was, this is so fun. Look what I'm doing. Every day I'd sit back and go, like Castaway. I've made fire.
Yeah.
A fence has been built. And it shifted everything. I had more energy than I needed to do anything I needed to do. It's like insanely powerful, and it's just a choice. And now, 4th of July, Mark DiCarlo was in my pool, and I was grilling burgers, and we sat under an umbrella, and all the furniture didn't fall apart, and you could walk on the deck because it wasn't filthy, and I had to recaulk the pool, and it was warm. I mean, I won the game.
You did it.
I won the game.
Yeah.
Hooray for me.
Yeah.
I think, at the introduction of this podcast at the very beginning, which, by the way, I didn't really understand what you meant by doing an introduction episode for the podcast. So I thought it was like a teaser, and I could have done a half hour, and it could have been an episode.
Yeah.
But in that, I said, I just want to learn how to worry less and laugh more. Mm-hmm. And I think that's exactly what I'm talking about. I think we have like polar opposite vibes. I have polar opposite vibes. Either dread and avoidance and making it worse than it is, or compounding what may not have been something I've chosen by having a relationship to it that it sucks, or embracing what is with full acceptance and flipping the script to making it a get to instead of a have to. And what it feels like to me is literally like taking a backpack of 20, 50, 60 pounds off of my shoulders throughout my entire day, and lightness. Like it feels, oh my God, everything, I have more energy for everything, which I think people who are really successful have shared, that the more I do, the more energy I have.
Yeah.
Like the more active I am, the more time I have, the more I do, all of that stuff. Yeah. That's sort of counterintuitive. So given what I've been thinking about from what you said last week about how I can laugh at the things that have been weight.
Yes.
The things that cringe me, I can laugh at.
You should laugh at.
You're right. Should laugh at. Get to laugh at.
Yeah.
Get to laugh at.
Yeah.
And it makes this thing, this lifing, a lot easier to do instead of a lot harder to do, which is all self-imposed. I mean, waking up in the morning going, I can't open up my computer and see what I'm and the world. That was the other thing I was thinking about is in this conversation is I stopped watching everything because the world appears to be in turmoil. And I thought to myself, I wish life would stop lifing for about like a week so I can catch up. Like, can we just like put a pause and let me catch up and start again? But obviously, you might be able to do that, but I don't know how to do that. But what I can do so that I can get through every day, or at least start every day, is George Kittle the fuck out of things. And go, game time. This is so fun. Look what... He's constantly taking an inventory of what to be grateful for. My beautiful wife, my beautiful house, my health. Even when things hurt him, I am healthy, I am strong. And it's textbook, like you don't expect to hear from a football player, right? But it's textbook self-care. Affirmations are top of the list on Robbie's book, and I'm constantly going, I'm not fucking doing that. And now I'm affirmation king. And it's because of you. It's because it's because of Robbie. But my resistance, because I'm an asshole, is that I'm not doing those. But because of you, I'm flipping the script. Because of George Kittle, I'm approaching everything as a game. I'm trying to have more fun. And because of Lawrence the band, I have a soundtrack for it. Yeah. The point I was getting to is that their music is just, to me, this is what it must feel like to be in a band that's so fun. What it must feel like to pick up a guitar and be able to just rip and look at the people in the band and go, I totally want to hang out with you guys and make this music. It's just joyful. So let's drink to having a little bit more fun.
Yeah. I mean, that's the big takeaway that I got out of when I went down, and I hadn't for a long time, but I was like, you know what? I want to do this. So I went down to La Jolla and I took mushrooms.
Yes.
and I came away from that experience going, you need to laugh more. You need to laugh more and worry less. And that was 2 years ago, and I've been living by that ever since.
Can I tell you something? I've only done mushrooms once.
In Vegas.
I told you the whole story.
Yeah.
And I'll out my daughter. I shouldn't. There are people around me who have microdosed recently, the little chocolate things.
Yeah.
And have expressed exactly what I saw in that time, the one time I tripped my face off. And what you're talking about is that particular stimulant removes for a moment a lot of self-doubt and gets you to what if? Like, what if everything was okay?
Yeah.
And I guess it gets you to kind of an acceptance of everything about yourself and others for a moment. So the things that you thought matter less in that moment. And then you can laugh.
Yeah, you're kind of forced to laugh. I mean, it makes it, it'll draw that laughter out of you in a way that I went, yeah, this is what I need. I need more of this in my life.
Right. But it doesn't, from my experience, was not that it makes me laugh like when you are really drunk and get giggly, or you really get stoned and you're like, oh, everything's fucking funny. To me, it was just like joy laughter. Like everything just tickled me, was just terrific, you know?
Yeah, well, when it started for me, I started laughing so hard that, it's when you can't really breathe right, and your stomach starts to hurt, and you can't stop, even though you're going like, I've been laughing too hard for too long, and it's getting weird, and you can't stop. And I hadn't laughed that hard since I could remember, and I went, I need more of that. That made me feel good. I want more of that in my life.
Yeah. Yes. So now we just get down to like biophysics, because like two things make you feel calmer: laughing until you can't move, and crying.
Yeah.
On the other end of it, you're much calmer. But what I'm going,
I would also like to point out that another time, a little later down the road, because I'm not a big crier, and I definitely don't cry at movies, and it's been a long time since I've cried at a movie. But now that I have daughters, the father-daughter stuff,
stop it.
It'll get me close. It'll get me real close, but I'm not quite there. But I took a little bit of mushrooms, and I watched Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey. And that final scene with his daughter in bed after she saves the world and he missed her life, I was bawling. I was bawling. And the mushrooms helped me get there too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It kind of it opens a possibility for you to feel things, and it's okay, as opposed to feeling things and feeling awkward about feeling things. And that's why I think it's really interesting that the application of that drug back in the 60s was overdosing to get there. I think LSD and acid and shrooms and all that. Psilocybin was like macrodosing takes. By the way, I saw things that I can't forget, and it changed my life too. But just the taste of it opens up like your chakras. Opens up.
Yeah, I didn't even take that much when I watched Interstellar.
That's my point.
I wasn't doing a full thing. It was just a little bit, just to have some fun, and it just opened me up a little bit. But that wormhole scene too was a bit of a trip.
I've texted my daughter after watching some stupid scene in some movie, sobbing, and just texting, I just want you to know I love you. And then her response usually is, why are you such a bitch? But yeah, no, I can't watch father-son, father-daughter stuff without sob. First of all, for me, tears are here for no reason at any given moment. I mean, I don't sob a lot. I don't cry a lot, but it's not hard for me to go there. But man, I'm trying to think of the last movie I saw that was so stupid Family Stone gets me. There's all these movies. Like even last night, we were watching All That Jazz, which is this creepy, weird movie about directed by Bob Fosse, sort of autobiographical that Roy Scheider is a star of, and it's one of Robbie's favorites. And there's this scene. He's just a horrible dude, but he's got a relationship with his daughter, and his daughter's a ballerina, and I'm fucking sobbing.
Yeah,
just ridiculous. But you make a good point. The feeling, like the sobbing feeling connection, although there's the tears and the pain of that. It's not even pain. There's actually a good feeling of it's connection is what you're feeling. You're feeling that something, your heart's feeling something, and it's actually feels good, and those tears aren't sad tears.
Yeah.
Those tears are more like expression of I never thought I could love anything this much.
Mm-hmm.
But the laughter thing, as its own drug, is I'm rededicating to realizing that that's far more important than any of us understand. And in a world that we live in that is constantly reminding us that we're all fucked. And more importantly, there's constantly voices of other people telling you you're wrong. And, this constant shouting about you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. It's really easy to get hopeless. It's really easy to carry that weight and even subconsciously carry weight of other people's shit. Just the energy of it is just like soot in the air. And the remedy for that is to catch yourself feeling it, take off the backpack and say, you know what? This could be a game. It is a game if I choose to play. It's a fucking game that you may not be aware you're in, or you may be resisting playing, and then the joke's on you, or you get it, you get that it's all temporary, and you choose to play the game. George Kittle the fuck out of it.
There you go.
Get yourself a jersey.
Yeah.
So George Kittle, after Mark Wahlberg comes, you, whole family, bring the whole party bus here, because I just think that you're an inspiration. So I wish you safety, health, and happiness, and more fun in your life, George Kittle. But more importantly, to you guys for being with me again this week. I really, that's what I wish for you too, and me. Wouldn't it be cool if this week we did two things? We recognize when we're not feeling it and say, wait, this could be a game if we want it to be. And we constantly said to ourselves, I matter. Even further, we could say, I matter and this is fun. And then we'll all be rich, because so many things will manifest and all our problems will go away. Wouldn't that be cool?
That'd be nice.
That'd be fun. I'm going to go home and just take a second and create a mental picture of Caelan, stoic being, sobbing on the couch watching,
Interstellar,
which I've tried that too.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else, Kay?
That's it.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. Thanks for joining me. And I'll see you next week. I'm out. I'm going to go try to have some fun.